So as you do know, if you vanish without a trace, it's really scary. I mean, it's scary if you vanish with a trace too. That's not what I want to talk about today. But if you do march into WrestleMania as the WWE Champion, even if you leave without that belt, you must be super duper important, otherwise you wouldn't be put in this position to begin with. That's why it's very curious that on the odd occasion, such individuals do vanish into the abyss, and we don't hear from them for a while. It's almost like they forgot. So my name is Simon Miller, my friends, and let's figure out who fell foul to such nonsense. Number 10, Brock Lesnar in 2022. Brock Lesnar did indeed walk into WrestleMania 38 as the WWE Champion, and he left as quite the historic loser because it was Roman Reigns who took his belt. He was also the undisputed dude, and he would hold both of those objects for a long-ass time. We all assumed that Brock would be on Raw the next night because it is the Raw after WrestleMania, and he wasn't there. So we waited for the next week, and the next week, and the next week. And then after a few months, we realized, I don't think the Beast is coming back. In fact, it took till July, and then yes, we went right back into the Roman Reigns feud for SummerSlam. That was really weird. How did he get this main event after he disappeared? And I suppose we all knew this because Brock Lesnar has been a part-timer for a while. And actually, now that we can look back in hindsight, this was the end of that program. And my gosh, did it go on for a long time. Always does feel a little bit insulting to the audience though. At least let them say goodbye on Raw. Number 9, Goldberg in 2017. We all remember Goldberg's big comeback at the 2016 Survivor Series where he squashed Brock Lesnar in 86 seconds and then won the Universal title from Kevin Owens a few months later. It meant he walked into WrestleMania 33 as the champion, when you can argue he had the best 5-minute match of all time. That war with Brock is absolutely joyous. Now thankfully Bill did turn up on Raw 24 hours later, but then he did it too. He disappeared, there was no rematch, no follow-up, no storyline fallout. He just quietly exited stage left. Now once again, this one was a little bit easier to swallow because Goldberg was never meant to stick around for a long time. His return was always a short-term deal, and we always made that clear. This did feel quite abrupt though. I mean, he was the top champion on Raw, and that left a little bit of a weird void. This one went totally crazy too because we didn't see Goldberg again until 2019. And then that was for that Undertaker match. So maybe it's best we don't talk about any of this. What a mad, mad time. Number 8, Seth Rollins in 2024. Seth Rollins walked into WrestleMania 40 as the World Heavyweight Champion, where he did indeed lose that title to Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre then lost that title to Damian Priest after he used his Money in the Bank briefcase. The whole time CM Punk was on commentary. This was a wild ride. Of course, Seth would be back the next night to help Cody Rhodes finish his story and become the champion, but you can see it there. This poor man was hobbling along on one leg, and to be honest, I don't know how he made it through this. The dude is an absolute warrior. It meant he had to go away to fix this and get back to full health. I think the reason it hit so hard is because the Visionary had been carrying the red brand for nearly a year. It's why he was given this title. He was a flipping workhorse champion, defended it all the time. The major reason it gets in here is because he did vanish without a trace, because for some reason WWE never properly addressed it. When he was the champion going into WrestleMania, I think we could have said something, but we did not. In the interim, he did repair a torn meniscus though. There's nothing more important than that. Remember health and happiness first. Still think it would have been nice for WWE to let us fans know what was happening, but I suppose who cares about us? We don't mean anything anyway. Number 7, Brock Lesnar in 2020. Oh look, he's here again. Brock Lesnar's 2020 title reign ended in front of 0 fans at the awful pandemic-stricken WrestleMania 36, where he did indeed drop the WWE title to Drew McIntyre in a very odd finisher-heavy main event. It was meant to be a passing of the torch moment, and it still was, but of course nothing during the pandemic ever hit how it should. Unsurprisingly this time, given there were no people in the crowd, Lesnar disappeared immediately afterwards, and once again nobody talked about him. It was like he'd become a ghost. This one I do think you have to put an asterisk by just because of COVID and how it took out everything, but his sudden absence did leave a gaping hole, and there was a lot of unfinished business. This one went even further too because behind the scenes, everybody thought Brock's career was over. He had rumoredly retired until WWE got him on the phone again. Then he just came back and back and back again. Although really we didn't see him until SummerSlam 2021 when he had a huge surprise. And of course, he confronted Roman Reigns as a cowboy. I mean, that's quite the change. but I guess he can do whatever the flub he wants. Number 6, Triple H in 2016. So there is a reason to this one. WWE was so desperate to try and get the Roman Reigns babyface experiment over, they decided we can have Triple H win the 2016 Royal Rumble, he'll become the WWE Champion, Roman can then beat him, and Triple H will do such a good job as a heel, everything will be fine, and the big dog will be over. That was never going to work though, because at this point the WWE Universe had already decided they were never going to get behind Reigns, so this fell flat. Although Roman Reigns did win at WrestleMania 32. It just meant as well that after the fact Hunter Hearst Helmsley wasn't going to come back because he'd only been moved in here for a short-term run. Given that we had dedicated so much time to this in the build though, when he was ghosting an entire storyline, well, you would have been forgiven for thinking this never happened. It was like he'd just fallen into a hole and we couldn't get Triple H out of the hole, so let's just not talk about it and focus on the hole. What? Once again though, I do want to make it clear there was never an intention that the game would be sticking around, but if you don't follow videos or the websites like we do, you wouldn't have known that. Once again, you'd just be scratching your head. Number 5, Goldberg in 2020. So this is pretty much the same as the earlier one, because following Goldberg's 2020 Universal title win over The Fiend, Bray Wyatt in Saudi Arabia, we were going to get Roman Reigns versus Bill at WrestleMania. There are no fans in a warehouse. Then Roman Reigns had to go away to protect his health, and once again there's nothing more important than that. When Braun Strowman was drafted in, he beat Bill Goldberg. I think by that point Goldberg felt the same as Lesnar. There's not a lot I can do, there are no fans, my body hurts, I'm just going home. So really I do give this one a pass, because I tell you, everything from WrestleMania 36 for a good 6 months was absolutely messy. I mean, you never knew what was going to happen, and it really did feel like WWE was booking it week to week. We wouldn't see Goldberg again either until he came back for a Saudi payday, which is totally his right, but given that he was dominating for a good few months here and controversially beat The Fiend out in Saudi, well yeah, this one wasn't great either, and goes to show, sometimes don't just make it up as we do go along, stick to your plan, or at least figure something else out that can carry on after WrestleMania. Number 4, The Rock in 2013. The Rock's 2013 WWE Championship reign was a big deal on paper. I mean, not only did he end CM Punk's historic 434-day run, he brought mainstream buzz back to WWE, headlined WrestleMania 29, that was the second time we did a once-in-a-lifetime match, and made sure that John Cena walked away as the champion. I mean, that's another passing of the torch moment. Of course, as we know by this point, Dwayne Johnson was a part-time wrestler and full-time Hollywood guy, so as soon as he had done the business and he had put the good guy over, well, he left to go back and make more movies. The reason I wanted to throw it in here, though, is I actually think he would have been on Raw to set up a WrestleMania 30 match, or at least that was the rumor, but what we learned soon after is that The Rock had suffered a brutal injury mid this match. He tore his abdominal and adductor tendons clean off the bone, he needed surgery, and that meant the movie he was shooting, which was Hercules, had to be delayed for weeks, which cost millions and millions of dollars. So the next time you're wondering, why doesn't Dwayne Johnson do more matches? That's why. People were probably pretty mad. He also had to fly home to Miami immediately afterwards, and let's just say it again, health and happiness are way more important than wrestling. Though I tell you this, when you do go back into the rumor mill, everybody said The Rock and Brock Lesnar were going to have a clash. And can you imagine if that was planned for WrestleMania 30? It would mean that Lesnar wouldn't have been in the Undertaker match. I shall just leave it there. Number 3, Roman Reigns in 2024. Roman Reigns' legendary reign as the undisputed WWE Super Duper Whoop Universal Champion finally came to an end at WrestleMania 40 when Cody Rhodes finished his story. Roman had held these titles for an incredible 1,316 days, he'd smashed records, he'd become the tribal chief, and really at the time he was the biggest star in the company, headlining the biggest show of the year. And then he vanished. Once again, we thought there'd be some sort of climatic send-off or chaotic fallout on Raw, but instead we kind of shifted into the Bloodline 2.0, and it was Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa that were walking around going, well, where the flub did he go? I suppose it was just so jarring because he had dominated WW programming for nearly 4 years, and here we weren't going to see him again until SummerSlam. Now listen, absence does make the heart grow fonder, and in many ways this did make him feel like a bigger deal, but once again you think he could have come out on Monday nights just to say something, even if it was a quiet moment with Solo Sikoa. We didn't do nothing. Now I will always say if the real life Joe Anoa'i does have this built into his deal, more power to that guy. He's worked his ass off. But once again, we are just looking at it from a television point of view, and it was kind of like this man just didn't turn up to work. Number 2, Cody Rhodes in 2025. So I would say this is the first entry that we get to where it is proper storyline stuff. Cody Rhodes was able to hold his WWE title for an impressive 378 days when John Cena came back to ruin wrestling and defeated him at WrestleMania 41 for that belt after smacking him in the head. Now, fans really were left stunned, and we all remember the controversy afterwards, especially because The Rock did not come down the ramp. But really, Cody had to go away here for many reasons. 1, he was embarrassed. 2, he had let us down. And 3, well, it goes back to what we just said. This was a proper absence makes the heart grow fonder moment, because when he did finally come back at Saturday night's main event, people were so happy to see him. I think there was a little bit of a worry from WWE management people may start booing Rhodes because everybody loves John Cena, so they went and figured it out. I shall keep going back to the boring thing I keep on saying, though. We didn't really get told where he had gone. I mean, you think the commentators would have been a little bit concerned? No. Number 1, Shawn Michaels in 1998. The Shawn Michaels' WWE Championship loss to Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 14 was essentially the dawn of the Attitude Era. At the same time, it was also the end of HBK's first run. Battling a serious back injury that he had suffered at the Royal Rumble in a casket match with The Undertaker, Michaels basically gutted through this match, even though quite clearly he was in no shape to continue. And then after this he wasn't able to. Because as soon as he had dropped this title, Michaels was out and the Austin era began, and even Triple H took over Generation X, because everybody thought that Michaels was never going to come back to the company and he'd probably have to retire. Do not forget as well, it would be over 4 years before HBK did return to the ring. And sure, he made the odd sporadic appearance as a commissioner, but his absence from the title scene did allow the likes of The Rock to finally step up. Now this one, we do have to give credit to WWE because his injury was 100% real, and they did talk about it. I remember Jim Ross being like, we send our best wishes to HBK, and we really hope one day he can come back. And trust me, on that Raw, nobody thought that was true, so the fact that we did get a part 2 with Shawn Michaels, well, actually, this one is alright, because finally, we got what we needed. For all the other world champions who went into WrestleMania and then totally vanished afterwards, let us know in the comments below before you like the video, share the video, and subscribe. You can also click the video on the screen for yet more wrestling trivia or me just giving you dumb opinions, but otherwise, my friends, I appreciate you. Have a lovely day, and I will talk to you again very soon.